Good evening, everyone. I hope everyone's having a good night. We're going to get some people in here. I have a very special guest tonight. I know Eileen and David, you've been waiting. Get y'all in here before I start getting started. You're in for a treat tonight. Hopefully everybody learns a little something. Hey Sherry, how you doing tonight? Hopefully I'll be able to hear. It doesn't sound good right now. Hey Chastity. Tonight's episode of Supernatural Speak, I wanted to make sure that I brought something to the table that was a little different. I know there's a lot of shows out there that try to have an educational value, and Rich is one that could definitely give y'all an education. There's a lot of things going on out in the paranormal community. You know, it's a lot of he said, she said, this is right, this is wrong, I'm an expert. Well, if I was going to get close to an expert, Rich would be one. So I want to make sure everybody knows I'm so thankful that you joined me tonight. I really appreciate the support. We got a lot of people in here, Rich. Hey, Pops, I love you, Melvin. Hey, Mandy. I know all of you are here to see Rich because, you know, he's famous. Hey, Matt. Well, without further ado, I would like to present to you Mr. Rich Valdes. He has a very long history with the paranormal. He's also, at this point, you would be considered the head of the paranormal clergy, correct?
Yes.
Okay. So I'm going to let him tell you a little bit about his history, how he got started. You know, if anyone has any questions, please post them. And while Rich does that, I'm going to find my speaker so I can actually hear everything.
So how did I get started in the paranormal? At the age of 15, going on to 16, I had what I thought was a very too realistic type of a dream. And in that dream, I was in my aunt's room. A little background on her. She was Down syndrome. So I was laying in her bed, but I realized I was looking out her eyes, and I was getting up from her bed, walking to the doorway of her bedroom, and next thing you knew, I felt the sensation of falling down and blacking out. And what woke me up was my mother pounding on the door, telling me to wake up because they had called the rescue to go take my aunt to the hospital. She had had at that time 13 grand mal epileptic seizures. And she said, I got to go. I can't wait for you anymore. But what she didn't understand is that I couldn't move. I was in what is commonly referred to as sleep paralysis. But I couldn't move. And when I finally was able to gain movement back of everything, I put some clothes on, put my shoes on. I ran 5 blocks to my grandmother's house, passed the rescue on the way. And when I got there, I got to my aunt, and she was right where I had left her in my dream, at the doorway of her bedroom. So I was basically having an out of body experience, but I didn't know what it was called back then. I was actually seeing out of her eyes, and I was experiencing everything that she was experiencing. So since I didn't know what it was called back then, I figured, well, let me look this up, or actually, ask around, and nobody in my family could give me answers. And I ended up sneaking off to the public library, and I found out exactly what it was. I found a book called ESP. Welcome back, Beth. Beth is, our
Yeah.
our host. And when I
Yes.
found when I found When I found the book on ESP, I actually that's when I first came across the term OBE, out of body experience, and it actually described everything to the T as to what I had experienced. That was my first paranormal experience. 15, 2 months later, I was 16, and I had to do it in secrecy because I grew up in a very conservative, very non-denominational Christian family upbringing, and to talk about things like that was no. So I basically had to start teaching myself about the paranormal. I always found an excuse to go back to the library and check out the same book over and over and over again. So that was my first book, ESP, and the second book I read was by the late great Hans Holzer, and it was called well, geez, the name escapes me, The Ghost Hunter. And that was the first time I ever read that book, and I became a huge fan of Hans Holzer. And from that point on, that was back in 1986, and my journey with
That was pretty good
demonology.
year.
Yeah, 86. Let me tell you. I remember my family would always say, "Oh, it was the 40s and 50s were great." And times are simpler back then. Let me tell you something. Compared to what we have to go through nowadays, I'd wish back the 80s. Swatches,
Yeah.
Orange Julius, and all that stuff.
Parachute pants.
Oh yeah, parachute pants, all that stuff.
Yeah, it's hey guys, hey Joe. Thank y'all. David, of course, David and Eileen are here. Um Apparently tonight I'm Rich's co-host since my life I can't get it together on the technical aspect. So um yeah, it's funny to me, people talk about when they had their first paranormal experiences, but we really don't share when it all started for us. And you actually started hitting the books and researching at a young age.
Well, the very first
And
show I ever saw that had any paranormal theme to it was In Search of, with
yeah.
Leonard Nimoy as its host. Not too many people nowadays would even know who the hell Leonard Nimoy is. That's Mr. Spock, by the way, and live long and prosper. But back then, he was Mr. Spock, and he also was, the host of In Search of, and that was the only show they had around. You know,
Yeah, and there wasn't much for us, like,
no.
unless we were earlier on and our parents were watching Ed and Lorraine on their little show, and David would love to see you in parachute pants, I'm assuming is what he's talking about. Um,
I'll pass on parachute pants. I'm
yeah,
glad that that's one trend that left.
we didn't say we'd wear them, David. And Eileen, of course, has got your back. At least he could pull it off, unlike you. I love these two. They just, and all my family is in here tonight. Thanks, guys, for joining in. I told you there's a lot to be learned tonight. Um, when did you know that? Well, when did you start studying? And
Well, the paranormal was 15 on to 16, but demonology, if that's what you speak of,
yeah,
the pastor of my church always felt that I had a calling. He couldn't really put his finger on it. And one day he had a sermon, and it was talking about Enoch and the Watchers. And of course, that's in Genesis. Um, but there's more to that, and I'll touch on that later on. Um, and I knew just about every answer. He used to have Bible study, and I had just about every answer. I didn't even have to look into the Bible or anything like that. I had the answer for everything. And he said, "I have a feeling you may have a calling for demonology, or as Second Corinthians actually covers, discernment of spirits." Of course, that can go either way. That, in my opinion, is, in my interpretation, what we call mediums nowadays. But that's
yeah,
considered one of the many gifts that are imparted upon the church. but it also is discernment of any spirits. Notice it says discernment of spirits. It doesn't define any one particular spirit. It doesn't state
Right.
human spirit, demonic, angelic, and whatever else. And that later on took form in my life as I went on studying. But he figured he'd wait until I was 18. His name was Pastor Frank Marzullo. May rest in peace. He taught me for a good 2 years before he passed away. And then, life takes over. You fall in love, you get married, you have kids. But, I still studied and on and off, but I kept finding myself in situations being called by the church that I attended to discern as to could this be demonic? Could this not be demonic? And I was pretty good by then discerning between mental illness, confusing something paranormal with something demonic, and they didn't know, of course, to accept what I would say. So I'd have to explain to them, you do understand that not everything is demonic. And
Yeah.
that's the hard part, because people that usually go to church think that if something paranormal happens in their life or in their home, it's demonic, but that's not the case.
Yeah.
So I struggled for many, many years, and I continued investigating on and off, but it was on my own. It was only until I believe 2003 that I decided to join a paranormal team in Florida and see what it was like to investigate with a paranormal team. And when I started investigating with that paranormal team, I started discovering that, I could bring something to the table, but I was also bringing other stuff. My knowledge of demonology in case we ran into something like that, and my knowledge of the paranormal and learning from them as well. This is what the paranormal community should be about, is learning from other people as well.
Agreed. And that's, we learn from each other, because not all of us, no one has all the answers.
No.
And some of us might have a piece of the puzzle that another person doesn't have. But if we're not willing to agree to disagree, or, take constructive criticism, I don't really think people understand this is not a game.
No.
You're either in it for the right reasons or you're not.
Agreed.
You're either wanting to help people, help spirits, or I don't know. You don't want to do it to be famous. Let's all face it. There's no money in this.
I still don't see it. I haven't seen it.
No, I don't think any of us will ever see it. And I'm not trying to be funny. Not everyone. So I don't want to be quoted for saying, I'm saying everyone that's in the field that's getting a paycheck is full of shit. But money seems to change your integrity.
There are, and I know you may not want to hear this, Beth, but there are some people that charge for their services.
I've heard that recently. A man contacted me and he told me in California, somewhere in California, he didn't go into too much detail, $600.
I
I
heard
said, for what?
recently, is 3 months ago, a team in, what is it, South, one of the Carolinas, either north or south, they charge for their services, and they charge for exorcisms.
Oh, really? They do now?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, okay. If anyone wants to deliver a message, and you can say that the pair of thugs said it, if you charge people to help them, you're an asshole.
She said it, not me.
Um,
But I agree with her.
yeah, that's not, that no. If someone, that's not your path. I mean, guys, I'm bringing the real to you tonight. Rich is yeah, he's gonna tell you just like I'd tell you. This is, I'll probably get a yes, yes, all day. Some people are afraid to say things. They're afraid to, I'm not trying to start no drama. I don't want any drama, but I just want people to be good people and stop bitching about other people if you're not a good person. This is, I do what I do because I genuinely love people and I want to be a part of the bigger, it's, that's why I respect people like Rich. Not only is he helping people, he's going to tell you if you're a dipshit.
You
Um,
want you don't want to be part of the problem. You want to be part of the solution. Is the way I see it.
yeah,
Um,
yes.
I'm too old to be dealing with drama nowadays, being 51 years of age, and quite frankly, I just don't have the patience nor the time. And some, I see a field that I've been in for over. I actually started calculating a few weeks back, and I was like, "Damn, I've been doing this for 35 years, and that's a long time." But yet, I always find it amusing, and I've seen this in recent years. I have to say, um, I'll throw this one out just for the hell of it. I was at a speaking engagement at a convention at Seven Sisters Inn, and that's back when they were open for investigations in Florida. We had great speakers there. We had John Zaffis, Brian J. Kano. We had Andrew Perron, all of which are good friends of mine. And this one guy showed up, and he was a speaker. I had never heard of the guy. The first time I met him, he was 23 years old, and he went up there and he started talking, and he said, "I've been investigating the paranormal now for 20 years." Now, I ain't a mathematician, but I can tell you this right now. You're 23 years old and you've been investigating for 20 years. So you mean to tell me you were investigating in your underoos? Gotcha. Or should I
Yeah,
say, gotcha. In other
yeah,
words, they want to pump up their status so badly, and they want to come across as some kind of important and be taken seriously. But for those of the people that weren't really paying attention and said, "Wow, he's been investigating for 20 years. That's amazing." And I was like, "Wait, he's been investigating for 20 years and he's 23, so he was 3 years old when he started." I don't know about you, but that just I got a 2-year old daughter. She's about to be 3 in March. I don't think that's possible. Okay.
yeah. No, no, and that's I've seen that happening a lot
Oh yeah.
with the younger investigators. Hey,
Yes.
we're not discouraging young investigators. That's
Right.
not where we're coming from. But everybody has to start somewhere. There's no shame in asking for help.
Yeah.
None. And you're not going to learn it from a TV show. You're not.
The first person, and I'm just not saying this because we're friends. If David Childers is on, he knows who I'm talking
He
about.
is. He is.
But the first person that I have ever heard admit I started in 2019 was Miss Stormy Daniels.
Yes.
And I was like, holy shit. She actually admitted that she started in 2019. She even started investigating the paranormal back in 2001. It would have sounded good. It would have given her maybe more credentials, but how can we really validate whether she started in 2001 or 2019? I believe she'd started in 2019. I have more respect
Yeah.
for her because she was honest.
Yep. And she's the only one I know that's out there in the spotlight. I have been fortunate enough to come across some, they call me the paramom. So a few para babies, they're like, well, we just started like last year. We've never even had a team, but we're interested. But you know what? They want to learn.
Right.
They want to learn the right way.
Yeah.
They have, that you can't. But here's the thing: there's a difference in you've been investigating for a year. How long have you been having experiences?
That's the difference. Yeah, big time.
So last time I checked, life experience sometimes is holds a little more weight.
Well, yeah, you could say that, but I mean, I wasn't okay. There's experience, experiencing,
True.
plural. Okay, so we're thinking along the lines of experience like John Zaffis, Andrew Perone's,
Yeah.
the Chip Coffees of the world. You can't compete with that, but
Yes.
even they will tell you they're no experts. None of us are. None of us are.
No.
We're
No.
constantly learning. The day that you say you're an expert, guess what? You might as well retire because you must know
You're
everything.
done. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I respect Stormy for that. She has not, oh, I've been doing this since I was 5 years old. And nope, she's been quite upfront about, hey, it is what it is.
Mm-hmm.
And I'd worried, like you said, I'd be more worried about a person that was lying about it.
Well, she's had experiences since before 2019, but it doesn't mean
Yeah.
that she's been into and
Yeah.
investigating the paranormal since 2019. So that in
Yeah.
itself holds a lot of weight, and I commend her for that.
Uh, we have this, well, I have this little saying. I tell people I don't know shit about the paranormal, and Shannon wanted to make sure everybody knows that Beth doesn't know shit about the paranormal. That's right, Shannon. I have
Oh, come
absolutely
on
no
now.
clue.
Take it
Um,
easy on her, Shannon. Come on now.
I love Shannon. And I'm actually getting a shirt made that says, I don't know shit about the paranormal, along with David's Parapimp shirt. So,
Oh, Lord have
yeah, big
mercy.
thinking. Yes, I started that, Rich. I am the reason that David is the Parapimp. I started that.
No.
Um, yeah, and I guess another thing that that I really wanted to make sure that I touched on tonight, and
Mm,
because I know you will back me up,
sure.
and I have that very big pet peeve, and we've talked about on a couple occasions when we've talked privately. People, I am, yes, that's right. I am para white trash, but I'm from the hood. How does that happen, Denise? I don't know. Um, People out here, I understand a lot of people are gifted. I think everyone has a gift. I just think that some people are not as in tune with their gifts as others. Um, if you are not authorized by the church, you should not be doing exorcisms. Actually, you're not doing an exorcism, even though you're like, I do exorcisms. No, you don't, because you don't have authority to do an exorcism.
Correct.
You put people's lives in danger.
Correct.
And, I'm seeing that a lot recently. I've heard a lot of people, to each his own, but there's people that we have to go in there and clean that mess up.
Yeah. Thanks a lot, by the way, in advance. Um, that's been going on for years, Beth. The amount of people, and it's just not the paranormal investigators or the Joe Blows that decide to call themselves demonologists that all of a sudden seem to think that now that they are calling themselves a demonologist, they can actually go in and do the solemn rite of exorcism on a person that is demonically possessed. Here's the problem: you have no formal training. You decided to take on this title because it's cool, and you're actually placing yourself and that person and their family at risk if you go in there without the backing of the church, which is what you need before I even approach a case. And mind you, even though now I do run the paranormal clergy, it's solely mine. Bishop Long still works with the paranormal clergy. If I happen to come across a case that doesn't involve the paranormal clergy, it involves my team, the paranormal consulting agency, and I feel that there may be shades of something demonic going on there, I have to call. I don't have to, but out of respect and reverence to Bishop James Long, I let him know, and he puts me in prayer, mass, before I go in, during, and after. That's the backing of the church, and I don't go in there with the intent of saying, the power of Christ compels you with a cross on someone's head. I go in
Yeah.
there to actually check and see if there is something demonic. And if something actually is something, demonic going on in there, my job is to report back to clergy, and then they take over, because I don't have the authority as laity within the United States Old Catholic Church, or any church for that matter, because that would be my title as demonologist, to go in and conduct a minor or solemn rite of exorcism. It's just not my job. It's not my training. My formal training is simply to be that pawn piece on the chessboard that gets knocked down before the bishop crosses.
That's right. And that's, I don't think people realize, like you said, people throw that around like, oh, it's cool.
Yeah.
If you don't know, you read a book. Ooh, you read one book and now you're a demonologist. Am I supposed to be scared of you? I'm just saying.
Well, Beth, if you need brain surgery, I saw a video on brain surgery on YouTube.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, you want me to?
You're my dude. You're
All
my
right.
dude.
I got. Yeah. Okay. I'll set it up for you. No problem. I got you.
I'll find a way to get to you, bro. We're gonna make this happen.
No, I'll come to you. I'll come to you.
All right. Cool. They don't really like us too much in Georgia. We don't really get to do shit here in Georgia. That's why I go investigate everywhere else. My brother Todd asked you. He wanted to ask a question. Does all that hold true for cleansing of homes as well? I was definitely going to touch on that.
Define cleansings of homes.
I think he's. Yeah, come on, Todd. I want your opinion. I don't want to ask for my own. Hey guys. Hey Joe. How you doing, bro?
I'll wait on Joe.
Let's see. Come on. Well, we can go back because Jason is on one too. Is there a criteria you have to determine if something is demonic? Yeah, he's got to go through that list. I'll let him tell you about that.
I really can't go through that list.
See, can't go through that list. Okay.
No.
That's private. That's top secret squirrel. We could tell you, but then we'd have to kill you, and that would make us bad people.
The only reason is because I did take a sacred oath, and if I were to actually start divulging the way we test,
I get where you're going.
Everybody and their mother would be doing the same thing I do, and then getting possessed. And let me tell you something. Possession is not something to play around with. People seem to think, oh, you can get possessed, no problem, call a priest and they'll come over. Good luck on that one, because they have protocols too. And usually from the reason Bishop Long 20 years ago started the paranormal clergy in the first place is because he found that there were a lot of teams that were coming across cases that could potentially be or were demonic. And they were calling churches and asking for help. And the churches were saying, sorry, we can't help you. Click. Yeah. And that's when he started offering his services, because he's always loved the paranormal, and he felt that was wrong of them to do, to help in case something like this were to happen. Hence the name paranormal clergy. Yeah. So what's his name, Joe? If he's come back and
Todd is back.
Todd.
Yeah, he was talking about like if someone feels like they brought something home or something like that. I think he's talking about like a house blessing, kind of.
Oh, a house blessing. House blessings. Yeah, I'm on the fence about that. I've been given permission by Bishop Long to do a basic blessing over the house. A prayer. It usually involves a prayer, doing prayer with the people of that house and the location. But I've also been known to use frankincense and myrrh, which has been blessed, and do that. if a person comes home with what they feel to be an attachment, what I would recommend, if you feel there's something like an attachment and you've just left the property, stop off at some parking lot, light up frankincense and myrrh that's been blessed, not just any frankincense and myrrh, it has to be blessed, and just go over your body with it from head to toe, and just do the Our Father prayer, and that's enough. When it comes to, and let's explain a few misunderstandings when it comes to actually doing using sage. I've noticed a lot of people nowadays seem to think that sage will get rid of the bad juju spirits. Sage is usually used to get rid of negative energy. It's not used to get rid of spirits. And I see people all the time sending me emails. I don't know what went wrong. I've saged so many times. I've run out. I don't know what else to do. The problem's getting worse. Well, basically, you're just, stinking up your house and making it smell like pot. That's about it.
You might as well just smoke a blunt.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah. If you have
Mark
negative
was
energy,
wondering-
you're not getting along with your husband and wife, then use sage.
Yeah, like, oh, he's getting on my nerves tonight. Here, inhale.
Sage. That's all you got to
Get
do.
Mark was wondering, what is the difference between a blessing or a cleansing of a house?
Okay, a blessing of a house is, I've heard this so many times where I called a priest over and they blessed my house and I'm still having issues. Well, of course, all he did was bless your house. A cleansing of the house is usually the minor rite of exorcism. And
Okay.
that is actually where a priest, knowing that there is demonic activity going on in the house, will actually conduct the minor rite of exorcism, which involves religious provocation. And that can be very dangerous. Some people are saying, well, wouldn't it be more dangerous with the solemn rite of exorcism, which is a person that is demonically possessed having an exorcism performed on them? Yes and yes, because you're still dealing with demons. In a demonic infestation situation or demonic haunting where they have not possessed a person, that is where you use the minor rite. But it doesn't mean they can't attack you. They're still there.
Yeah.
Yeah. The difference between a possession and an infestation is that in a possession, they're in a person. They can lash out, however many may be in that person, and you might want to have backup. I would never recommend anyone going in alone to do something like that. I would recommend 3 people at the least.
Yeah, like regulators, mount up. Let's ride.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's usually recommended that you have someone there that has a nursing license or a doctor that can take the individual's blood pressure. If this is a solemn rite of exorcism, can monitor, their vitals. Because one of the cases that actually forced people or the church to actually start taking these measures was the case of Annalise Miquel. For those of you that don't know the case of Annalise Miquel, let me make it easier for you to understand. The possession of Emily Rose. Her real name was Annalise Miquel. This was in Germany. It was not here in the States. And she died of starvation. She died weighing, I believe, 68, 67 pounds. So it's a very, very serious situation. And in fact, the reason they started placing protocols is because the two bishops and the mother and the father of Annalise Miquel actually were arrested and put in jail for a short amount of time for negligence and allowing her to die. Just thought you'd want to know.
Yeah, I think I told y'all, education time.
Yeah. So everyone,
There's
open your books to 666, and
Yes.
we'll pick up on Satan.
Yes, let's talk about Satan. Mandy brought up something too that we have actually discussed before. What if someone was mentally unstable and these amateurs kept telling them they are possessed? Imagine other things that could manifest from this damage through to someone that doesn't know crap. You're right, Mandy.
Awesome question. Um, the paranormal clergy, thankfully, we have the services of a mental health professional. And as I stated, any reputable church that handles this properly will always have a mental health professional available. And we have protocols. You get your email, you read it over. What we do, I'm just going to give you a really, I'll give you the cliff notes real fast. Email. Okay, I find out the city and state. I put it in the closed group, paranormal clergy affiliates group, which is a closed group. Please don't try and join. You're not going to make it. It's a closed group just for the affiliate teams. And if it's in a state, a city that where that team that's affiliated with us can actually take the case, they take the case. They call. They set up an appointment. They have a preliminary investigation. They report back to us or to me in this situation. I go over the evidence. If I feel, based off the interview, based off the evidence and everything, that there could potentially be something demonic, then we go to the second stage. Second stage is where I go ahead. If they are saying, the moment they say, oh, wait a minute, I think I'm demonically possessed, ding, red flag. To me, that means that they may have mental illness involved here. So I then have to call in our mental health professional, set up an appointment for them. And yes, actually, just so people know, she is a mental health professional. This is her time that she's taking away from her job, which is taking care of people that are mentally ill. She charges, but she charges reasonably, and she charges where you can pay her monthly, and that's fine. But she has a license for this. We can't take that away from her.
That's her
But
livelihood.
that's her livelihood. It's her time. So she's putting time aside for you. Once that's done and taken care of, and she says, nope, they're free and clear. There's no signs of mental illness. They pass with flying colors. Or the psych eval comes back and states that they could have split personalities disorder, schizophrenia, bipolar, you name it, go right down the list. And they're not even being medicated for it, or they are medicated for it, and they're refusing to take the medication. That's another red flag. And then I pretty much have to pull back from that, because then that becomes a liability for the paranormal clergy and the clergy itself. The church has actual insurance. So in case something were to happen and this person was found to be mentally ill, they could be sued. And that's an expensive insurance to have. And let me tell you, I'm sure they don't want to have to put a claim on it.
No.
So yes, there's protocols. We have to follow those protocols.
And I advise people, this it's not something that's all willy-nilly. Oh, this person is possessed, let's go do this. It is, you have to be not only professional, but you have to know what you're doing. You can't just read a book and do this. I mean,
in the 11 years, Beth, that I've been doing this with Bishop Long and the paranormal clergy, I have only had four authenticated cases that were considered demonic.
There you go, Eileen. He answered your question, because she said she missed everything due to David talking too much. We also have Shannon in here, my friend. She's doing lobotomies because she's investigating, asylums. So she feels like you're doing brain surgery, she can do some lobotomies.
As long as we don't go into proctology, we're good.
Yeah. No, we're not doing that. David said, Rich, have you ever came across non-human spirits we call creepers? They are basically parasites that feed off children's fears, hide in the dark, cluttered environments.
Is he talking about the tall top hat or fedora hat man that usually scares kids?
Are we talking about the Shadow Man, Louisiana?
I mean, this has been going on for years. Yes, I've come across those. those I would call extra dimensional spirits. I don't consider them to be demonic, but I do consider them to be evil. One of the things, excuse me, that I did study up on many years ago, and I still go back to it every now and then, is the book of Enoch. And I know it's not in the Bible. Don't even bother looking for it. The book of Enoch actually covers what is, and it's mentioned in the Bible. We battle against, demons and evil spirits of the air. So what the hell are evil spirits of the air? Well, when you read Enoch, you find out what evil spirits of the air are. And I believe that is what, my buddy Dave is actually referring to.
Yeah, he said they climb walls. Oh,
Yeah.
you're talking about those kind of creepers. Okay.
Oh, the creepers, not the top hat creepers, fedora hat creeper,
Okay.
Freddy Krueger types. I've come across two in 35 years. They're very rare though. Very rare. I mean, that's something that I won't think, I've never seen them. I've had them described to me, but I have made contact those 2 times via EVP. And it's funny, they come across childlike, but they curse like sailors.
Wow.
And they know your name. They'll call out your name. They do that.
Those, I think somebody else I talked to said they called them by their full name.
Yes. Yeah. Well, the first time I ever came across one, because I've had my middle name removed. It's a long story. I'll get into that some other time. But my middle name was removed. They didn't call me by my first or last name. They called me by my middle name, which had been removed by that time, a good 30 years. And I was like, say what? I had to actually play the EVP almost 6-7 times. I was like, oh, hell no. It just called me by a middle name I haven't had since I was 5 years old.
You're like, no.
That ain't right. That ain't right. That ain't right. And if it called me by my nickname that I grew up with when I was a teenager and they used to call me Blackie, then I really would have been like, who that? How you know that?
Yeah.
No one's supposed to know that.
I've had that, and now I've had that happen through EVP and through necrophonics. And a lot of people don't know my nickname. So for that to come up, I'm like, what? How did you even remotely know that? But to be called by a middle name you haven't had since you were 5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's,
no.
yeah. I had to listen to that several times on the EVP. I was like, burn that.
Can we erase, burn, delete? I don't care what you got to do. Just get rid of it.
I'm one of the few that when I started investigating, I was using Polaroids. I was using lead tape. I was using tape, recorders. I was using all that stuff. Nowadays, people will be like, what the hell's a Polaroid? What the hell's a tape recorder? I'm like, never mind. You don't know what the hell I'm talking about. But I'm actually bringing that back.
Oh, yeah. My niece is using Polaroids now. She's 16. And she's got a Polaroid. She loves using it.
Yeah.
And I've seen, that tape recorders coming back. And I'm like, hell yeah, I need like 3.
Get the little ones with the little tapes.
Yeah.
The lead tape I've discovered actually collects more EVPs than the actual digital ones that we have nowadays. Because those have an internal mic, the digital internal and out and external mic as well. So it tends to, refract noise.
Yeah, I think we should do old school. That's right, Leanne. We're going back old school.
Yeah.
And no, Jason, my middle name is not Parathug. That's my first name, babe. Mandy has me rolling. She said I had to exercise a couple of the creepers my daughter dated, and they never came back.
Yeah, it's called the Louisville Slugger.
Yes. And Eileen had a really good question, and I'm eager to hear your opinion on it.
Sure.
Would you even know if you're possessed? I say no, but
Yes, you would. One of the things I will divulge this is if you started out watching, let's say, some TV show on TV, and you find yourself, I don't know, in the backyard facing a tree, and you don't know how you got there,
oh yeah, that point.
that's
Okay, yeah,
yeah, you would know. If you start getting random thoughts in your head that you know is not you,
yeah,
thoughts like killing someone or someone you love, harming an animal, something innocent, a child, something that is totally out of character for you. They could be potential signs of mental illness, but you have to test them. And there's ways of testing. And if you can, if you have some kind of um let's say all of a sudden you used to be fine with blessed items. I can hold a cross to you. That ain't blessed. But if that cross is now all of a sudden blessed and you can't even hold it, we got problems. So that's one way to
well, yeah,
test it.
that portion. I was just thinking about just sitting around. Hey, I'm possessed. No, I'm crazy as
No,
shit.
no. Yeah, I could say that too.
So I mean, I mean, and
But
like you said, you've been doing this a long time, and it's very rare.
one thing I've noticed, and this has happened a lot in cases that involve incubus. Um, uh, the woman usually, not so much in men that are victimized, which are usually through succubus, but in incubus cases, I've noticed the women end up with psychic abilities, uh, pyrokinesis, telekinesis, abilities they never had before. And that is very dangerous because those are the hardest ones to actually expel from your lives. They actually mark you, and then they start giving you gifts of psychic gifts so that they can stick around. So what you once didn't want around you, all of a sudden, you're kind of like, you know what? Thanks for the help, but I really don't need your help anymore. That's when you start worrying because
Yeah.
if you couldn't stand to have them around you before, and now all of a sudden, it's okay. I kind of know who's going to win the Super Bowl now. I'm going to go bet.
Okay, Joe, and I'm glad. Okay, yeah, I'm gonna need. Yeah, we're gonna have to talk after this. Um, uh,
Just as long
for
as you let me go
another
to the
session,
bathroom
people.
first.
Oh, my brain just went to a whole nother level. Um, Joe, he has a show also on Midnight Wolfpack. He's been having phone issues. I think that's a common thing of the evening, Joe, because at one point I was the host, and next thing I knew, Rich was the host and I was the co-host. Um, he was wondering what is the most common reason you hear people believe they have a demonic attachment, I would say.
There's two reasons. And mind you, I back when I was in college, I took Psych 101. I wish I could have finished, but there's two reasons. Uh, there could be mental illness involved that has gone undiagnosed. It could be schizophrenia, and schizophrenia does involve hearing voices in your head, being told to do things that you normally wouldn't do. That's when you really gotta. It's very difficult to actually define, is this demonic or is this mental illness? It's kind of hard, but that's why there's psychological evaluations. But what I did learn in Psych 101 is we as human beings tend to manifest what we fear most. So people that actually say, I think I have an attachment, or I think I'm demonically possessed, or I think I have some demonic infestation going on, are actually, what they're manifesting is their fear. They turn to what they fear the most. So if you fear snakes and you also fear demons, that demon is going to look snake kind of, sort of, and you're going to fear that first. So people nowadays are being plagued by all of these, I don't know, fears that they actually manifest and bring to life. And that in itself is, I feel, more dangerous because nowadays the shows are the ones that are screaming demon all the time. It's demonic. Something touched me. Something scratched me. That could have been anything.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just like, oh, it's dark. Okay, maybe that's the only way it knows how to manifest.
yeah, yeah.
I
Maybe
mean,
maybe they haven't evolved enough in their spiritual, journey to where they can manifest to how you can recognize them.
yes. And you have to be, and I don't think people realize too, stuff plays with your head.
Oh
It's
yeah.
like the trap. Like people don't realize shit knows when you're coming,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
or it baits you to come there.
Yeah. The
And
toilet knows when I'm coming, and it's like, okay, we got problems.
yeah, like somebody grab the essential oils and the heavy duty and the heavy duty. Where's the heavy duty? You're trying to, Joe says, I'm trying to tell the universe that I'm afraid of $1 million so it can come scare me. It's
Yeah,
not
you know
working.
what? I agree with George. I'm going to do the same thing.
That's a good one. And you mess me up because you're like snakes, and I'm like,
Actually, my fear is frogs.
really?
Oh yeah, nah. It happened when I was a kid, and it was my mother's fault. And she told me to throw salt on these 3 tree frogs that were stuck on our door. And I was like, okay. I had to go to the next door neighbors, get the Morton salt. And she said, pour it in your hand and throw it on them. I was like, all right, cool. I looked back at her. What now? And they jumped all over me. I was like, stop, drop, and roll. Stop, drop, and roll. I don't know if people know this, but when frogs are scared, they pee on you. So I had frog pee all over me. And I was like rolling around in the courtyard like you wouldn't believe. Like I was dying. I was 11 years old.
She scarred you for life.
She scarred me for life. Damn it.
Yeah, I'm petrified of snakes. I believe the only good one is a dead one. So, friends and followers,
Yeah.
don't bring your reptile, snake, anything of that nature near me, or you might get shot too.
Or amphibians.
Yeah, don't bring amphibians Rich's way. That will not work out for you. And he's not a small man.
It's gonna be like.
They'll be like, what just happened? Don't worry about it. Just go.
I'll kill you.
Yeah. Like, no. Shannon was saying that she sleepwalks sometimes and has been sensitive to more, I guess that's unusual energy. Could spirits possibly be moving through me when I'm not guarded? Well,
It's possible.
yeah.
I mean, I would say that about just regular sleeping. Our defenses are naturally down, and when we're in REM state, our I believe, at least I do, I believe when we are in REM state, rapid eye movement, our spirit actually leaves our body, and I think that's when you have the OBE experiences. So if your body happens to be, or your spirit happens to be vacant at the time from your body, something could slip in. That's why people always say your prayers before you go to bed.
Yeah, I tell people all the time, it's you have to be guarded when you go to sleep. That's at the point where you're most vulnerable.
Yeah.
And, I'm not saying that because I read a book about it. I'm telling you because I've been there, done that. And it's not fun. We have so much going on in chat that I'm dying. Eileen and David, I'm going to put y'all in timeout. Be nice to each other.
Oh, God.
Eileen said
Dave to death.
she kissed a frog and ended up with David Childers instead of French Charming. David responded with bitch. Yes, David. Rich might have warts, and this is my favorite one.
I have no warts of
My parababy said, the day I see a 7-foot tall cockroach creature, I'm calling Rich as soon as possible.
I got no problem with cockroaches. I will get a 7-foot shoe and squish it. But if it's a frog, I'm going to be throwing salt.
Hi, we're gonna go do a. Hey, everybody, we're getting together with David, Eileen, the Midnight Wolfpack, and Rich Valdes. How y'all doing? We're bringing salt.
Rock salt,
Oh,
supernatural style.
yes, yes. I love you, Sherry. Thank you for joining us. A proctologist comment. What? I'm an expert. I live with an asshole. Denise. Oh my God. We've had all kinds of specialists on here tonight. Earlier, Lars was a gynecologist.
Oh,
And he
really?
was,
That's my
yeah, Lars
title.
was, yeah, I can't. Okay. Okay. I'm getting back on track, people. I promise. This is what happens when you got good people and it goes all over the place. Bob, I love Bob. He's a very big supporter of the Midnight Wolfpack. Are shadow people the jinn, and are the jinn aliens from another time, dimension, or ancient spirit? I have heard both. I have my theory on jinn.
Jinn to me are the closest thing to nature spirits, and I believe they are ancient, but I don't believe they're neither good or evil. If that helps,
Yeah, I just think it's kind of like what you perceive it as.
it
I
could be.
mean,
I mean, there's people that may worship them. There's people that actually may revere them, but honestly, from my studies, they're neither or, and they have been around forever. Um, I would wager to say they are neutral. They're not good. They're not evil. They're basically more territorial than anything else.
I know I feel like they're very strong, but it's like you said, it's almost like what you give, like going into investigation. If you go in with, I'm looking for dark shit, you're gonna find dark shit. You're gonna run out, and they're gonna call Rich. Um, but if you go in there and you happen to need any vaginal therapy, Lars says they know they're known to me as the good hands people. I'm sorry. I love you, Lars. I love you. And Denise just stated that Ernie Pack has no power at home. This is great.
Wow.
Um,
Okay. It's like
um, a lot of people are here. Oh, I've got to take this to another level. We could do this all night long. Um, Many people are inquiring about your take on shadow people.
all right. The best way I can put shadow people in a category. Uh, don't judge them by how they look. Judge by how they act. Um, Oftentimes, we have to remember there are spirits that suffered in life and are still trying to evolve in the spirit world and have not necessarily reached that point yet. So they may not have the power or the ability to come across as they looked when they were alive. It may also be suicides. But we have to bear in mind constantly that you have to judge by their actions more than by their appearance. This goes for even us as
Yeah.
human beings. We have to really start thinking about how people are judged when it comes
Yeah.
to how we do things and how we react, how we respond. People tend to judge according to skin color, unfortunately, nowadays,
Unfortunately.
and you can't go by that because that doesn't apply. You have to go by their actions.
Yep. And I speak for everyone, considering that my grandchildren are the United Nations. So, you just can't judge people. Like Lars said, never judge a shadow person by its cover. That is
Exactly.
correct. And I think that has a lot to do with all the negativity, in the world that makes stuff even worse. And, guys, we got to hold it together.
Yeah, it's what you attract. It's basically what it comes down to is um, the law of attraction. And if that's what you're attracting to you, if you're constantly looking at things in a negative way, you're going to attract negative things to you. I'm constantly trying to look at things in a positive way and approach them in a positive way so that I know that whatever's coming my way is going to be positive. So people need to look at it that way.
Yeah, and I'm trying. I'm really trying um, to be positive because I'm allergic to stupid people, and
Yeah,
I tend to go into situations like this until we can get past that. Um, because there are a lot of people that will suck you in. Oh, I'm so nice. I'm your friend, and it's the use. I didn't. Okay, let me rephrase this because I don't want to be. I'm not saying you can like people, you can talk to people,
right.
you just can't trust everyone.
That's true.
I mean,
I,
you know,
I've heard fantabulous things coming out of people's mouths for years and years and years. And then 2020 comes around. And then you see the ugly coming out. And I'm like, is that the same friend I've had for 10 years? And they're talking so nasty and over politics, religion. Let's face it, it's been mostly politics and COVID-19. And I'm
yeah,
like, what the hell? Seriously? I thought you were a nice person, and here you are trashing. I'm fed up with it. But I've said this before, and I'll say it here. I think the only good thing that's come out of 2020 is we finally get to see what people really looked like inside.
yeah,
The facade that they've had going for 5, 6, 7, 10 years or whatever has been stripped away. The masks have been taken off, and we can see what's really beneath that mask, and it's
yeah,
ugly. Now,
yes,
I'm gonna use an almost curse word. It's fugly, and this is the hardest part. The hardest part is knowing that that's what they really always have been inside, and then you start thinking to yourself, how did I let this go by?
yeah,
I mean, was I that blind? Was I that hopeful? I guess I've always been the kind of guy that looks at things through rose-colored glasses. It's only when someone's throwing tar on those rose-colored glasses, and I'm like, I can't see, and everything's smeared up, and I wipe it off, and I look, and I'm like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever seen in my damn life. What's going on?
yeah. It's like you got to be slapped in the face with it, and it's like
Yeah,
because you want to be a good person. You don't want to change who you are,
yeah,
and
exactly.
I think that comes like I've been accused of having that savior thing. I want to save everybody. I want to, but you can't save someone who doesn't want to be saved.
Amen to that. That's the
So,
truth.
my brother Jason, he has some great shadow people photos from Waverly, and he's been very close to them, and he hasn't felt threatened. Not that's right, because not all of them are bad, and he does have some
Exactly.
excellent. He does. He has some excellent. He gets great evidence. He really does.
More power to them.
And he's very. He's not one of those people that jumps to everything. Um, that's one of the reasons I enjoy, investigating with him and working with him. Um, you gotta. Oh, my youngest one's on here. I love you too, honey. Um, well, one of the things that we were going to talk about tonight got brought up. Chastity would like to know your take on an entity that refuses to let you sleep. Um, like them harassing you during REM sleep because you're more I guess they constantly wake you up, creeping around, touching you, etc. Well, yeah, that kind of goes to somewhat of what we were talking about earlier.
I would have to say that whatever that may be is there are spirits, and I hope you can see me. I don't know. There's no light out here. I'll do the best I can.
Oh, you're fine.
Um, but since I've seen you strike up twice or three times, I'm like,
Yeah, I had to sit
I,
outside. I knew I was going to need cigarettes for this conversation.
I'm just hoping I have enough Wi-Fi while I'm out here. Um, I think there are spirits that actually we don't know exactly what fell that day. A third of heaven fell with Lucifer, and it doesn't really state the type of spirits that fell. We all automatically think they were all angels, but there are all types of spirits up there. I think there are species of spirits that we do not know or can even comprehend
I'd have to
that
agree with that.
roam the earth. And people need to remember something. When they fell, they didn't fall to hell. They fell to what? Earth. So they roam earth. They're not in hell. And a lot of people seem to believe they are, because it's basically what the hellfire brimstone churches have already taught for so many years, that Satan and his minions and devils and demons are all in hell. No, they're not. Hell was created for them, but they will not be there until judgment day. So in other words, they rule this very earth we run. What rules this very earth also happens to be spirits and species that we still do not understand to this very day.
No,
So it could be one of those, to answer her question.
this is true. And I've thought about that. There's just so many things, that we don't realize. They're walking right here with us every damn day.
Yep.
I mean,
And we don't even know what they are.
mm-mm. And everybody loves your accurate description of 2020.
Yeah. I love
Denise
that commercial, by the way, for the dating site with Satan in 2020. That's pretty much what it is, isn't it?
Pretty much. Yeah. I mean, and 2020 was a rough year, but there was some great things that came out of 2022. Like Denise said, we met our true friends and family and grew closer to each other.
Wait. We're in 2022 already? Didn't we just start 2021?
So done. I'm trying to skip ahead.
Yeah,
said,
you've been traumatized. You're trying to get to 2022. I'm still trying to survive 2021.
I'm trying to skip it. I'm trying to skip it because it started off kind of shitty. Even though I still say Ernie Pack is an asshole, but he's your asshole, honey.
I don't know who Ernie Pack is, so I wouldn't be able to answer that.
They're Pac-Man Paranormal. He's not really an asshole. They just got married. They're wonderful. They're my fam. I'm trying to. Everybody's in here. Like, y'all are typing too fast for me tonight. David Childers is Satan. Eileen.
It's true. I've seen his horns.
I'm trying to see who looks like a walrus. Ooh, Eileen, you went there with the Volvo. Oh yeah, we'll talk about that later. Yes,
I
Shannon,
don't even want to know.
I
don't even want to know.
I'll tell you about that later. That's my fault too. Rich has gained a new fan over here. Yes, Shannon, I told you you'd love him. Rich is awesome. You're getting the real. There ain't no holding back. He's not going to bullshit you.
And whoever sends me friend requests after this show, please send me a PM saying I saw you on Supernatural Talk, and I'll accept it. I'm very picky choosy as to who I allow on my friends list. I think I only have 800 since I started Facebook, so
I feel special.
Well, you reached out to me though. That's why I accepted it.
I did. Because, I heard such great things about you. And, I was like, okay, when somebody gives me the okay, hey, Rich is that dude. I'm like, hell yes, we're going to cuss, smoke cigarette. It's going to be great. And it happened. Yeah. It happened.
It's your fault, Beth. I was doing good until I saw you strike up.
Oh, I knew I had to do it. I was like, yeah, I'm going to sit outside tonight, definitely, because this is going to be nicotine central.
Yeah, well, it's 38 degrees over here. It's not nice. It's
no.
It's brutal. From one southern boy to a southern girl, I ain't
Yeah.
used to this shit.
No, you should have seen me a couple of weeks ago up in Kentucky and Tennessee. Like, hey, y'all, it's snowing. I guess I'm stuck. I'm not going
Exactly.
anywhere.
Exactly.
No. Um, I know I wanted to make sure we touched on it tonight. Hey, Rebecca, loves you. Um, with the dreams. You know, like I was telling you, for the last 3 nights, having those just vivid
And they're not
dreams.
dreams; they're nightmares. I've been
Yeah,
having nightmares for three
they're
three
yeah,
nights.
they're not good. You wake up from them and you're just like,
Yeah.
or you feel like you're being sucked back into reality. Like they just chews you up and spits you out.
Hmm.
And I would love to tell people how to what's not good. Of course, they're having nightmares are not good, but when you're having them consecutively like that, what do you suggest or your thoughts on it?
That's when you do a cleansing. Uh, bring out the sage, or in my case, dealing with as many demonic cases as I have to deal with on a daily basis. Occasionally, one does get through, and that's when you actually have to, take it upon yourself, and then uh, take those precautionary measures of making sure that you're not being singled out. And I felt I was being singled out because I normally do not remember my dreams. Um,
Exactly.
these were nightmares, and they were so vivid. The one that really stood out was me killing someone. I can't even hurt a fly. And although I look at and I used to be a bouncer, ironically, in a strip club many years ago, and I had to hurt people, but I never killed them. Um, I actually saw myself picking this guy up and throwing him over the second story and falling to his death, and him bleeding out, and me running for my life and running from the law. And I'm like, what the hell kind of dream is this? And I wake up in a panic that I actually went out. I didn't even realize I was just wearing a my shirt, and it was snowing, and I'm sitting out there in the snow going, what the hell was that all about? So I literally had to, start thinking, what's going on? This is the second dream, the second nightmare, I should say. The third one, I don't even want to get into it, and that's why I told you today. I went ahead and I burned some frankincense and myrrh in the house that's been blessed by Bishop Long, and uh, things are feeling lighter. Thank God.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to probably go that route because when you're seeing shit in 1080p and you can remember everything, you're just sitting there like, okay, this
Yeah,
is like I think I was actually there. Like this is not cool.
tell me about it.
And then
Been there
especially
three
when
times.
it's not you. When you would never do anything like that. And then I think to
Exactly.
myself,
It's out of
but
character. It's out of character. When you know it's out of character for you, you know that there's something off. So that's why I burned the frankincense and myrrh. Some people can burn uh, whatever they wish, dragon's blood, or I'm one of those weirdos that I believe there's a time and place for everything, and I don't always um, go the route that other people go. I tend to always um, explore everything, because you never really know everything until you actually explore it. I've
yeah,
read the book of Enoch. I've read the book of Eden. And those are books that are not in the Bible. There's over 200 books that have been removed from the Bible, and not too many people know this.
I'm sorry. Sorry. I don't know of a 14.99 here. Sorry guys. It's okay. This is what happens when you're on your porch, people.
Go to your back porch.
I don't have one. I'm in an apartment.
Okay, all right. Well
Um,
then, yeah.
You know, David, I might have to show up for that investigation. Rich is coming to old Nazareth. I might have to I know Rich don't really care for Texas, but
I call it Texas.
I kind of like it.
Yeah, they're always tooting about everything being big there, and I'm like, mind you, right now when I'm in Utah, considering Utah doesn't have a professional football team, they automatically adopt the Dallas Cowgirls as their football team. Yes,
I'm a Cowboys fan too.
I'm not a Cowgirl fan, and I'm a Miami Dolphin fan. I grew up watching the
Yeah.
Miami Dolphins, Don Shula, Danny Marino from 1981 all the way through. And when I'm here, I'm surrounded by Dallas Cowgirl fans wearing their jerseys and everything, and I'm like, hold up, hold up,
We're special. But
wait a
think about
minute,
it. I
wait
had
a
to get
minute.
another team. I grew up with the Falcons. I got cheated as a
The
child.
Falcons went to the Super Bowl what 3 years ago? They almost won.
Yeah, but I'm just not. And I even worked at the training camp.
Oh, come on now.
I'm just not.
Yeah.
I'm a Steelers and Cowboys fan.
I must admit, I am a Steelers fan. In the 80s, I was kind of split between the Dolphins and the Steelers because
Right,
I
go Bears.
actually wore number 75 in junior high and high school. And that, I believe, if I'm not mistaken, that was Mean Joe Green's number. And
Yeah.
but that was also Doug Better's number for the Miami Dolphins, and he was their 6'7" defensive end. So yeah, I was always a Steelers fan too. So I was kind of bummed not to see the Steelers in the AFC Championship game. And let's face it, Beth Roethlisberger is not getting any better. It seems like he's getting worse. So
Yeah, well, I think something's wrong with my kid. He used to be a Patriots fan, and I swear I didn't drop him on his head when he was little. But, you know,
yeah, but look at the Patriots now, right? Where are they? They're home.
so, he switched over. Was it the Buccaneers now? I'm like, you're following one fool. Like, what?
That one fool has won 6 Super Bowls. I gotta hand it to the man, and
I
he
know,
may just
man.
win a 7th Super Bowl. So I gotta tip my hat to the man. He's 43 years old and he's still playing good. He left the Patriots and they sucked, and he went to the Buccaneers and they went from the bottom, and all of a sudden they are number one. They're up there. Oh, and I guess my daughter decided to join us. Here's my
Hey,
daughter.
cutie.
Yeah.
Oh, hey, sweet
Say
pea.
hi. Say hi.
Hi.
You're a star now. Yeah.
Thanks for joining us. We were waiting for you. I will have the best show ever now that you came to visit. Because me and Daddy are probably getting in trouble every couple of seconds.
Yeah.
David, thank you. I know, because the Parathug always has nails on fleek.
Damn straight. Damn
always.
straight.
If I can't do nothing else, I got to do that. Todd, honey, it is possible for me to be a Dallas and Pittsburgh fan.
Sure. Why not?
I love you. You're an Alabama fan. I accept that.
I'm going to be a Kansas City fan for the Super Bowl.
See? Go Braves. David.
How do we go from paranormal demonology to sports? I don't know, but hey.
We've done it all tonight. We've had the prettiest little girl in the world on the show.
Yes.
Y'all have gotten an education tonight. And Eileen is a Bills fan. I love her, so I will say that publicly.
Wait a minute. Just so everyone knows, and I'm sorry, I don't mean to insult your friend there. I know she's a butt fellow Bill fan, but my girlfriend decided to call them the butt fellow Bills, and I've been laughing ever since. And I'm like, so we're here watching the butt fellow Bills and lose to the Kansas City Chiefs. And meanwhile, I'd seen the Green Bay Packers lose to the Buccaneers, and you know,
All she had was bite my ass. David, oh my God. David, we'll talk later. I can't even
David's
say
just
that.
mad that Mississippi ain't got a professional team. That's all.
Yeah, well, I can't even.
That's all. I'm sorry, Dave. Mississippi, come on now. You're lucky you
They're
even
going,
have a
they're
college
going
there, a
hard in the
university.
chat.
Yeah,
They're
you
going
know.
hard.
Well, what's the university that represents Mississippi? I forget.
Well, you have Mississippi
That's
State,
you see, I
Ole
forgot
Miss,
about that.
Ole
Ole Miss.
Miss.
Oh, I forgot about that too.
Yeah. Oh, Tar. Okay, let's. I'm going to. I've got you, Shannon. She wanted to know your take on tar water that contains holy water.
Um, that's a little bit of new agey mixed in with religious beliefs. I say whatever works for you. If you say it works for you, use it. I'm one of those. I believe in rose quartz. I always have one with me. I believe it promotes, good health and positive energy. But it all depends on the energy you're putting into whatever it is you're using.
I completely agree on that. I always have amethyst with me.
Good repellent.
Always, and I have my Norse compass.
Yeah.
And that's just the one I wear all the time.
Right.
But and I tell people, you need to regularly cleanse your crystals. You need to, you have to put in the upkeep. You have to love them.
Yeah.
Put the love in them. You want the protection, you got to put the protection in them.
I agree. I mean, my girlfriend, she has stones. She uses Palo Santo first. She burns it over it, and then she uses rainwater and puts it over a full moon, and that's how she cleanses it every month.
And like you said, a lot of people don't understand. Everybody tells you have to do things. Oh, this is the way you have to do it. No, you do it your way.
Exactly.
What works for you. There's no book or movie or tutorial that's going to show you what works for you. You have to discover that on your own. You are not doing. Yes, no titty shots. No. The other night, my son, during the Wicked Women of the Paranormal show, decided that he was going to charge $5 titty shots. So every now and then, behind my head, you see him walking by.
I don't want to see man boob. Sorry.
I can't. My child is.
I'm good.
Something else.
I'm good.
I can't do it. And of course, Father Casey was in chat. Titties.
Oh God.
Who? That's another person that I dearly love. Who's been a big support. So I've been fortunate in that aspect. The one thing I love about doing what I do, because someone has questioned my purpose, so I figured I'd let everyone know while I have the other badass of the paranormal on the show with me. My purpose is to educate. My purpose is to have fun, to make this a better environment for all, not just paranormal investigators. I want to help people one vulgar joke at a time. Just saying.
Well, it's kind of like what I think the discussion that you got brought into, and you agreed 100%. Someone or many people were trashing at that time, Dave's friend and mine, Stormy Daniels, because wait, now a porn star is actually investigating the paranormal. I'm like, well, let's see, back in 2004, if I'm not mistaken, was the premiere of Ghost Hunters, and two plumbers with their crack were investigating the paranormal and actually started the whole trend that everybody's on, that I've been doing way before it became the thing to do. Why is it that plumbers are now considered to be paranormal experts? Or one of the paranormal brothers, I believe that's the name of the show, because I really haven't watched it.
Ghost Brothers.
Ghost Brothers, okay. Did you know that the lead investigator used to be and still is to this very day a fashion designer?
Yeah.
And you're letting him investigate your home? So, before people start, saying, but wait a minute, I work in Walmart, I work at, CVS, I work in the corner store, but you call yourself a paranormal investigator. Why should it be any different for anybody? So you know what, Miss Stormy Daniels, more power to you, hon. Go for it. The way I see it, everyone has the right to investigate what has called them to investigate. I don't care what your title was before or may still be.
I'm a professional asshole, and I'm a paranormal investigator. I don't know shit about the paranormal. Yes, Todd, you're right. That's my other purpose.
You can't say that, Beth. You can't say that. You know enough, and you're learning every day. Just like me, just like everybody else that's watching right now, everybody's learning every day.
Well, it just makes it easier so people don't ask me questions. I just say I don't know shit, and then they don't ask me.
Yeah, and then you send them to me.
I mean, I'm there to support you.
Uh-huh. I got your back. From way over in Georgia.
Way back, way over there.
Yeah, I got you.
And yes, Todd, you're right. My other purpose is to fuck shit up. That's what I do. The Parathug way. That's right, Leanne.
Stir the pot.
And Denise said her purpose is to save your ass when you're flopping on the floor like a fish.
I don't even want to know how I got to that. Jeez.
So yeah, I mean, I look forward. I hope in the future we can do this again. I appreciate your friendship and mentorship, because you, like I said, there's got to be somebody that's out there telling it like it is, and you don't sugarcoat it. There's a couple of you guys out there that I really respect, because you put it out there honest. And I support what you do.
Isn't that what everyone's supposed to be doing? But unfortunately, they're not.
That's right. That's why, hey, I say it like this, brother. Somebody's got to do it. So why not us? It is what it is. It may not be fun. I mean, I've got quite a few people out there that probably don't like me, and you're not paying my bills. And you can't whoop my ass. So
well said. And they don't know where you live until that guy came up and said, is this 14 whatever? If you said your address, you're screwed.
Well, I have no problem dropping pins on maps, Rich. I tell them all the time. I don't do nothing on Facebook, but I have no problem dropping a pin on a map. I got 2 bad knees, but try Jesus, not me, because I throw hands. I'm just saying.
They're going to have a Jesus moment.
All right, Midnight Wolfpack Productions. I'm going to sign off so Animal can go live. All right, guys. I'm so glad I was able to get Rich on tonight. We will do this again. I have invited him to do some roundtables. Like he said, if you do send a friend request, send him a message first. Let him know you saw him on Supernatural Speak, or just say, Beth sent me. Just period. I love each and every one of you. Thank you for your continued support, and thanks for joining in and just having a good time. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you soon.
Peace. Be still.